It's a Guy Jeans podcast.
My guest today is Spencer Barnitz from Spencer the Gardner. And if you know the music scene in Ventura and the Santa Barbara, Oxnard, Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, San Luis Obispo County, you're very familiar with the band Spencer the Gardner. They are legends, and Spencer is the band leader of the band. And my interview with him, I'm talking about the old Ventura, Santa Barbara music scene back in the 90s and what it takes to be in a band and all his bandmates and everything that's going on with Spencer the Gardner now. 40 years he's been doing this. They even have done a documentary on Spencer Barnitz. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Barnitz. Hey, Spencer.
How are you, Guy?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for being on my podcast.
I've been waiting for this.
I know. I had Robert get in touch with you, and I'm glad you decided to do this with me, man, because it's really important for the music industry in the Ventura, Santa Barbara area, for sure, to talk to you.
How long have you been doing this?
The podcast?
Yeah.
It's been a couple years. And
I didn't.
Yeah, and I'm making my way through all the legends of Ventura County. I've talked to Scotty Morris of Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I had Raging Arb and the Redheads on, and it's just been a blast, man. So I want to go down that road with you, of course, because we have history and some.
And we kind of started in Ventura.
I know,
in a way. I mean, Charlie's was like the one place where we really played a lot at first.
I know. I want to tell you a story, man. Okay, so, Charlie's, I want to talk about Charlie's, but me and a friend went down, and we had heard that this great band, Spencer the was playing at Charlie's, and we should go see them play and all this stuff. And we were young lads, and so we went down. I remember they used to have you could actually sit outside and watch bands, play from outside, the windows and stuff. And so me and my friend were outside the window watching you guys play. I think that's when you had Nate, the trumpet player, playing with you at the time.
Right.
And so we're sitting there watching, and we both look at each other, this friend of mine, and, well, man, these guys are ripping hot, man. They're so good. And I wanted to ask you if you could guess who that friend of was, who that friend of mine was. Take a wild guess.
Wow. That's not what I thought you would say.
It's going to be pretty funny for you.
And Ventura guy, obviously.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, it's your current drummer.
Oh, Robert Raquelli?
Yeah.
You're right. I can't believe I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Because that would have made sense.
Yeah, and so it's we sat there and watched your whole set, man, and we were both just blown away how awesome and different and interesting you guys were, and now Robert's playing with you pretty regularly.
Yeah, and it's funny because we still are all those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And so then probably, I don't know, maybe a year later, our band, Robert and his band, Lion Eyes, ended up playing a show with you at the Crown Plaza, which was the Holiday Inn back then, in one of those banquet rooms.
And it was a huge show.
Yeah, okay, so you do remember.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't remember, everything about it. I just remember that it was Spencer the Gardner and Lion Eyes, and it was a sold-out show in a Ventura hotel.
Exactly, man. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that was cool.
The thing about Charlie's, for one, but there's all these other clubs that you and I have played at. But the cool thing about Charlie's is they were so inviting to bands to play original music. And it was just, they didn't ask for bands to play covers and this and that. And back then, a lot of the bands that were playing at that little club were bands that were playing original music. Isn't that cool?
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's different than today by far.
Yeah.
Because today has changed a lot. And I mean, it's almost like you tell somebody you're doing an album and it's kind of like, really? Why?
Right.
Shouldn't you just play Journey, Don't Stop Believing, and Sweet Caroline? And,
Yeah.
It's like, look at all the bands. There's some huge cover bands right now.
Yeah. But some of those bands that were playing in those little clubs, like, that Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Right.
What used to play there, and, some of the other Santa Barbara bands would play in there, and it was just amazing. Some of the bands that came out of there, even Big Bad Voodoo Daddy played in there all the time, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing scene, man.
It was a cool scene.
Yeah, and for you guys and for you did you originally start playing original music with your band The Tan way back then? You did? You guys were writing songs and...
Yeah, we put out a couple of records. And yeah, I mean, that was the 80s where everybody was... It was kind of a weird thing about New Wave was it made you feel like anybody could be in a band, even though later on you realize that all the guys in all those bands were really good.
Yeah.
But, at first it was like, it just seemed like, oh yeah, we got a band.
Yeah. So tell me about that. How did that all start, the Tan? I mean, you started playing music and then you met some friends and just started doing it?
Well, I took, my friend Brad and I went to Mexico with the idea that I was going to teach him how to play guitar and we'd come back and start a band. He had just come back from England in like 78, 79. And he was into the whole New Wave thing. And he's like, we should do this. So I said, okay, well, we'll go on a surf trip and I'll teach you how to play guitar. So we left for 3 months and had a super great surf trip and came back and started a band called The Tan.
That's so awesome. And then did you guys just started doing original tunes and then you guys...
We did. And, at that time, it was also a lot like Charlie's. We started at a place called George's.
Okay.
And, we had all kinds of original songs. And people wanted that right then. Mm-hmm. Like all the punk bands that came out were playing original music. And, so it was easy to play what was theoretically probably some really bad songs. Mm-hmm. But it was not frowned upon. Mm-hmm. And it took us a couple of years till we got kind of good and even like wrote a couple songs that were good, because we did have quite a few when we started. We had quite a few. I'm not going to say bad, but they were very different.
And so you guys,
they were like growing up on the Mesa songs.
That's fun, man. You guys, didn't you guys eventually like get like a record contract with somebody? Or
we
something?
did.
Yeah. And how did that? How did they find you, and how did that go down?
Well, we had a couple deals, and our first little record was produced by Robbie Krieger of The Doors.
No way.
And our album was was produced by this guy named Tony Berg, but the sort of director of it all was Robbie Robertson from the band.
Oh no! Wow.
So we had some heavyweights kind of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the record industry, which is a funny thing then and now, but some of the guys that were signed to the record label that we were on, who signed us, their contracts came up and they didn't get another contract. So there we were, and nobody wanted to take us on because, if you fail and it was somebody else's idea, then that's kind of a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so did you guys get like money up front and that sort of thing?
We got money up front, but
it wasn't
like a lot because our lawyer took some, our manager took some.
Sure.
We had to record the album. We had amps to buy.
Yeah.
And, get ready for a big tour. And then the record never came out.
Mm-hmm. I remember, being in high school, and your guys' flyers were like all over our high school, man.
Because we probably played at your high school.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, for sure. Did you guys do like a little high school tour of all the...
We did. We did a California high school tour.
Yeah.
And, we were doing a lot of stuff on our own, and we really should have kept doing that. It was just at the time you were thinking of getting a record deal. It didn't, you didn't think you could do it on your own. But we had already, that was pretty proving grounds right there, just doing a California high school tour.
Yeah.
So it's too bad that we didn't just keep going in a DIY kind of way.
Yeah. And so that band eventually stopped and broke up, and then you guys...
Well, we moved to Europe, and then we broke up and came back, and I started Spencer the Gardner, and I definitely was motivated in a DIY way because I wasn't worried about getting a deal. I was just thinking, okay, let's take this as far as it can with us without a record label coming in and ruining it for us.
What do you guys think, after you started the band, what kind of propelled you to like start packing clubs and stuff like that? And how did that go down?
Well, that strangely happened pretty quickly and organically. Like we played at Charlie's. We didn't really know people in Ventura, but within like 3 times, like everybody knew us.
Yeah.
And so that was nice. We went to San Francisco, and the first time we played, and it was sold out.
Wow. And
we were kind of like, how do these people know who we are? And it was that same thing. It was just a DIY word of mouth.
The old school marketing, man.
Which is, now it's kind of new school, because that's really what you do as well.
Yeah. So when you guys started and you started doing these songs, and did you do an album, and then were you selling your CDs at that time to just your fans and stuff, or people? And your
Spencer the Gardner?
Yeah, Spencer, yeah.
Yeah, we were selling CDs, and we were selling a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it paid for, we were doing California tours, and we'd sell a bunch of CDs, and that paid for the hotels we stayed in. So we were like our own record company.
Yeah. And oh my God, you guys probably sold a bunch, huh?
We sold a lot. And, it's too bad the way the music industry went.
Yeah.
Because suddenly the ownership of music doesn't matter so much. And, cars don't even have CD players. And, so like all those CDs, I mean, there are plenty of people who still listen to them and play them, but most people don't tend to buy CDs.
So, dude, I have a whole bunch of my new band, the Stoneflies. I have a whole bunch of CDs, and so we played a show at the Ventura Music Hall last Friday, and I was just like trying to give away CDs, and people, like, dude, I don't have a CD player.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how everything changes, man. So tell me about your songwriting process, like, with your band, and how you wrote some of those songs. Like what's probably your, going back, like what's probably your most popular song with Spencer the Gardner, do you think?
There's a couple of them. Monster of Love is probably one.
Yeah, of course.
If I just had you to hold on to.
Yep.
Boy with the Two Big Heads.
Yep.
Were
those all off the first album, or?
They are, yeah.
They were, huh?
Yeah.
God, those are hit songs, man.
Hot Sun.
Hot Sun.
On the first record.
Yeah, yeah. That whole album is incredible, man.
But what's interesting is I came back from London, and I was working landscaping, and I was playing a lot of basketball, and I got hurt one day playing basketball, and I couldn't go to work, and I couldn't really do anything. So I was just kind of watching TV, and I brought my 4-track out and just started writing that record. And then I got a bunch of people to play on it, and I had already written pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
And so it was just like fill in the blanks, and we played out, and it was just kind of popular right away. And the guys in the band said, "Well, we should keep playing." And because I actually, when I first did that record, I was thinking, well, I'm just going to give this away for Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Like it's not. And then suddenly I was back in music again.
That's cool. So the song, like when you wrote the song "Monster of Love," which is probably
I did.
Yeah, one of the top ones. And how did that go down? Was it super easy to write? It was like when writing songs, like sometimes in my songwriting, some of the songs come really easy, and then some of them take a little bit longer. Does that happen for you?
Totally.
Yeah.
And different ones. There's a song called "Middle of Nowhere" on that record that just wrote itself. I wrote it in about one time through.
That's crazy.
Some of them take longer.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of words in "Monster of Love," so I would redo them periodically. But that record was not hard to write because I had this kind of like concept that I wanted, and so it was. I sort of knew what I thought I liked, and as I was doing it, I really liked it. So different records have been different ways, and now I have like I have like 10 records out.
Wow.
Two of them are kid records.
Yeah.
Which really wrote themselves. Organic Gangster.
Yeah, awesome. So what about like the horn lines and stuff in like Monsters of Love? That. Oh,
I wrote the first horn. I wrote the horn lines on the first record. I write most of the horn lines.
Yeah, and they just do those just come to you just in a melody? And
well,
you can
in
hear
a way, they're also guitar lines.
Okay.
And I also, you mentioned Nate. Nate and I were friends, and thinking of his trumpet I was thinking of it when I was writing the songs.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of, it had a base around the idea that there were going to be horns.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to be kind of surfy.
For sure. I just, when you get a chance, go back and listen to my podcast with Scotty Morris from Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. And he mentions you in the podcast. So it's pretty cool. And I wanted to tell you this because it was pretty cool when he told me. He said that he's all, who are the big bands in Ventura, in the 90s. And I go, well, he's all, well, Spencer the Gardner, he's all Lion Eyes and Raging Arb and the Redheads. And he's all, I would go and I would listen to all three of you guys. And he's all, what is making these bands work? And he was like, okay, these guys are doing this. Spencer's got this going with the guitar and the horns, and Lion Eyes has what they're doing with the horns and all this kind of stuff. And he said that Big Bad Voodoo Daddy kind of emerged from those three bands.
Well, that's kind of a natural thought.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, but the other thing is, he kind of had a concept that I've never seen it happen like they had it happen, where it just, the timing was so right. I mean, like, I don't think you'll find a whole lot of people going swing dancing today. Right. You will. I mean, they all know how to do it. But at that moment, suddenly it was like, that was the thing to do.
Yeah.
And that the movie came out, and it's like they were in the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, they just rode the swing dance craze.
Yeah.
Full throttle. and it was a great. It was just. It was perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, like, do you remember playing in, like, the old school, like, Toe's Tavern and the Beach Shack and all those clubs up there? How many times have you played in those places, huh?
I played a lot. I played at the Beach Shack a lot.
Yeah, and Toe's too, huh?
Toe's I played at not as much, but still a lot.
Yeah.
I played a lot at Nickelby's.
Yes, I remember. I love playing there too, man. Nickelby's was a great place to play. So what's going on? It really was. What's going on with your records and stuff? Can people still buy those or go online and get them, or where can they listen to these?
They go online and get them, but nowhere near at the volume as before.
Yeah.
Because I just think people in general, it's like records and bands and songs, and it doesn't have the same, like, the ownership is different, and you can find any one of our songs on YouTube.
Yeah,
we have videos for them on the Spencer the Gardner channel, but there's this other thing called Topic, which YouTube just puts out, and it's all our songs.
Oh, okay.
So you can find all the things you want for free.
Yeah.
And they talk about how records are coming back. Well, records are not really coming back. They're just selling more than, in comparative to CDs, records are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
But, CDs are not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And so records are not really doing well. They're just doing better than they were. And some people like the idea of vinyl, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's expensive
yeah.
to get them, and there's not enough call for them unless you really want vinyl, which I would love this new record that we're doing to come out on vinyl as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Again, it's sort of like, I don't know what you do a new record for so much. Singles with a video, I understand.
Yeah.
But albums are just a hard sell.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, how does a band, that's starting out, how do they get started? How do they, because they're not selling records or CDs?
Well, first of all, the bands that are starting out are young and into whatever groove is working, be it videos or podcasts or they're doing whatever's going on right now. It's funny because there's a lot of people who've been around for a long time who say, oh yeah, there's no scene. Well, there's a total scene. It's just you're not in it.
That's awesome.
And you're probably not gonna be.
Right.
Because, it's a youth market, and there's people starting labels and trying to do things on a smaller level. There's a lot of, shall we say, like community-based things where 3 bands will get together to help each other out.
Yeah. Yep.
That's more prevalent now than it was.
Yeah. There's I think what's going on, I think you just played there not too long ago, is it Tony's Pizza? He's totally like creating a scene there again, kind of Charlie-ish.
I did play there, and it was great.
Yeah. He's put a big stage in the side there. And
That's what I heard.
Yeah, and it's just awesome, man. You guys gotta go play there. But it's kind of cool, to see these bands playing there. And a lot of the bands are doing original stuff. He has cover bands there too, but there's a lot of original bands playing there as well too, which is fun. Cool.
And it looks like people are going.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm really digging it. So what's in the future, man, for you and Spencer the Gardner?
Well, we just finished a record, so it's going to come out, and we're going to put a couple of videos with it.
Awesome.
But I also the guys that did the record did a movie.
Yeah.
On me.
Dude, I saw that, man. And what is that like to have a movie done about you?
Well, it's interesting because I have had a long career with a lot of weird things in it.
Right.
And you know, it's like one of the reasons I wanted to do it was because people will always say, "Oh, you're still doing that," and it's kind of it's like defining success, you know, and how do you define it?
Yeah.
And if you're happy with what you're doing and where you are, that's successful.
Nice.
So that was one of the key elements of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Yeah, it's weird having a movie made about you. And, you know, I went to the premiere and it was great. It was sold out and people loved it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the whole time, I was going, what is this movie when it plays in Oklahoma? What happens then? You know, when nobody knows me, I'm thinking it's probably not going to be that well received.
Well, you're super well known in Santa Barbara and Ventura.
Right.
What do they call you? The unofficial, official?
No, that's just
mayor of music in Santa Barbara.
No, I started this thing for Fiesta.
Yeah.
And we would play on Wednesday night because Fiesta is Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Is it coming up?
But so about 20 years ago,
yeah,
I said, let's just play on a Wednesday. And I got a place to do it and said, okay, the unofficial opening night of Fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the name of the Wednesday night show we've been doing for 20 years.
Is that coming up this Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh, where are you playing?
Well, it's moved to the Pickle Room outside and Canon Perdido Street.
So it's like an outside party type thing?
Yeah.
Oh, how fun is that going to be, huh?
It should be fun.
Awesome. So when you're playing up there, like when you're up in front of the audience and stuff like that, before the show, do you get like nerves and stuff, or have you been doing this so long you just kind of can't wait to get up there, or do you still kind of get like, you know, that kind of
some shows I get nervous.
Heck yeah.
But for the most part I don't.
Yeah.
I like playing live.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun more than nervy. Yeah. But I also do like those shows where I do get nervous.
Heck yeah.
You know, like where you're playing opening for somebody and it's already full.
Yeah.
I mean, we played where you guys played the other night at opening for Ozo Motley, which was a perfect show for us.
Oh, for sure.
And so it was packed and it was like, it was great. I mean, we went over great. Nice. It's hard to sustain that or maintain it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know where they all went, you know, and like it's hard to keep people's attention nowadays because there's so much out there.
Yeah. You always have these amazing musicians playing with you. You know, Nate Berkey, what's he doing? Trumpet player.
Well, he's here right now.
Oh, is he?
He's playing Fiesta with us.
Oh, awesome.
But he's living in New York, teaching school and playing jazz.
But
he usually comes out in the summer and plays shows with us.
Oh, awesome. And you had Cougar Estrada playing with you for a while?
For a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, for 20 years.
He's just rips.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
So is Robert.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But Cougar, when COVID first came on, he's living in Claremont, so he was hesitant about coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 little kids also. And so when we started playing again, we needed a sub. And luckily, Robert just happens to be fantastic.
And he knows all your songs.
That too.
Yeah. So Robert, I started playing with Robert when we were 18. And I don't know if you know this about Robert, but, Robert was just playing pots and pans, when he was younger, and ended up getting a drum kit eventually later on, and was real influenced by ska and rock and
Definitely.
that sort of thing, and we just became fast friends, so it's pretty cool. It's really neat to see him playing with you, and tearing
Hey,
it
how
up.
was your show the other night?
It was so good, man. It was awesome. We played with Save Ferris.
Right.
And
who I don't really know very well. But
yeah, they're like a ska band from the 90s,
Right.
They have this huge following. It was just like what you said, it was already packed. And no one had ever seen us play. I didn't see anybody that I knew there. So that's super.
And they all liked you.
It was fun. Yeah, it was super fun. I was having a blast, and it was good. And we sounded pretty good, and we had a good time, man. That's when I was trying to hand out those CDs. Yeah, dude, we don't have a CD player. Pretty funny. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you?
That is funny. So you couldn't give them away.
It's funny. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you, man, while you play at a show? Like what has happened that's crazy that you've seen? I had a friend that's a singer. His name's Chuck Reagan, and I had him on the podcast, and he told me that he jumped into the crowd and this chick bit his leg. And while he was like getting tossed around, she was latched onto his leg. He said that was the craziest thing.
That is gnarly.
Yeah. He still has a scar from it and stuff.
That is crazy. That's like insane.
Yeah. So what about you?
I mean, in a way, the craziest thing was getting to San Francisco the first couple of months that we played there and having there be so many fans.
That's
awesome. Because I was just not expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've had some other kinds of crazy things too, but
yeah.
I can't off the top of my head remember them.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you were playing at the Ventura Theater one time, and it's just a memory I have of you up on the stage, and coming from a fan looking up at you, and you're playing you're playing at the Ventura Theater, and it was sold out or something, and I don't know, I just happened to be there. But it was when they used to allow smoking.
Yeah.
And you lit a cigarette and then you blew the smoke out, and the lighting after you blew it out on the stage looked so cool. And I was like, wow, that looks bitchin', but they don't allow smoking anymore. It's funny, you and I grew up in clubs where people smoked since we were younger, man. Wasn't that a trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are different. Think of this. When I grew up, surfing was an alternative lifestyle, and smoking weed was illegal and would get you in jail for long periods of time.
Right.
Now, you could go away to college and go, oh, Mom, I'm surfing a lot and I'm selling weed. And she'd say, good job, son.
Right. Oh, my God. Are you still surfing?
I am.
Oh,
but
awesome.
not really right now, just because I have too many injuries.
Yeah. So what about like the lineup and all the people? Are you seeing that like completely change too? Like how many people there are?
In Spencer the Gardner?
No, in like surfing, like being out in the surf. I mean, how crowded it is and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy, huh?
I mean, when I think back on days when we used to go, oh, it's really crowded.
Yeah.
What we should have done is gone out there and shut up and just realized how lucky we were.
I know. Oh my God. I know when I go down to like the Ventura Point now, and I'm like, oh my God, look at all these people, man. It's crazy. How do you catch a wave without somebody dropping in on you?
Yeah, it's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just thought of this, but one vacation in Cabo, I went with the girlfriends, well, with my girlfriend, and then we took the girls' friends of Toad because they really wanted to go to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And Toad was on the road, and they all said, okay, you can go. And we pulled up at just looking at the waves in Cabo, and right next to us, these guys were like, hey, man, are you Spencer? It's like, yeah. And then we were talking for a minute. I was like, wait, you guys are Raging Arb and the Redheads.
Oh, no way.
And, yeah, it was.
Who was it? Who was it? Like Toby and JD and them? Or
No, it was Toby and his brother.
Ross. Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw Ross
Toby
yesterday.
and Ross.
Oh,
and it was hilarious because it was like, oh, there's Spencer the Gardner, there's the Raging Arb, and there's the girlfriends of Toad.
Yeah. You know what we should do is we should do a show with Stoneflies and Spencer the Gardner and just wear Robert out.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad show anyway.
Yeah, I know. Robert be worn out. That'd be pretty funny. Absolutely, we should do it. You'd be into it.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. Okay, so if people want to find you, kind of let people know where they can go. And
well, that's another thing that, I try to mention it because, honestly, the best thing would be if you stop the show, said, okay, everybody take your phone out, look it up on Instagram, Spencer the Gardner, and follow it.
Yeah.
Or, and look it up on YouTube, Spencer the Gardner, YouTube channel, and follow it. Look it up on Facebook. I mean, because at least then you've got the name going. Because really, you could, like you guys just played that show.
Yeah.
You could have asked half the crowd who just played, and they would say,
"Oh, we don't know.
I don't remember what they were called."
Exactly.
And that's just the way it is.
It's trippy
right now. That's not your fault or anybody's fault. It's just the way it is.
Well, Spencer, I want to thank you for being on my podcast, man. It's been an honor to have you on, man. I'm a total fan, always will be. And you're one of the musical legends of the Santa Barbara and Ventura County. And I wish you the most success as you keep plugging away, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All of us, we all keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun, isn't it?
What you need to do, yeah.
I'm having a blast.
It's still fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm having fun playing with all my friends and seeing people smile.
Are you living part-time in Ventura and part-time in
so I'm kind of going
Kern
back
County?
Yeah, I'm kind of going back between Kernville and Ventura. So, I have my fly fishing business. And so I kind of go back and forth. I have a fly shop up in Kernville and teach people how to fly fish, and then I'll go back to Ventura.
How long is that drive?
It's exactly 3 hours.
That's not terrible.
It's not bad, and it's going back. I teach fly fishing in the surf as well, and so I'm going back and forth doing that as well. Good stuff. You'll have to come fly fishing sometime, man.
Okay. It all sounds good to me.
Yeah, man. Well, my best to you, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Spencer. Talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
It's a Guy Jeans podcast.